How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. Let's get into the prior picks. So my two picks were Crocs PDS on the stipulation that the market breaks 500, which the market did not. So here was the setup on Crocs yesterday. Some nice red candles, okay volume, compressing at the low of the day. If the market was able to get through 500 and really crack down through it, then I believed it could be a great setup. And that scenario did not unfold, and we didn't quite expect it to unfold. We just had a pick ready in case that happened. So Crocs was a no trade. Other pick that I had was UAL, and that, let me tell you, that was a nice pick. This stock had gone up 17% in one day. So UAL, great winner. And I'll tell you how I played this and what I did well and what I maybe didn't do as well. But I entered the trade here. I talked about the trade was producing and what I wanted to see. I liked how it's producing going up, even though the market was flat. Then I took profits on UAL around 12.35, and I took profits because, you know, we had this sell-off over here. The market was still finding support. I didn't quite know when that was going to happen. So I took profits on what I thought could be a double top because the stock was doing really, really well, but I didn't know how much more gas it had left in the tank. We were also running up against a fairly significant high plus trend line. So those were two things kind of in the way. So that was my rationale for taking the exit here. So got a nice 80-cent win on that trade. But obviously, UAL did very, very well the rest of the day. And it's because the market found support. And what I said was, if the market finds support, then UAL could continue to be very, very nice. So before I get into what the market's doing today, what we can get from it, how could we have been better on UAL? What are some of the things that we missed in our decision-making process? So first, I like my stock selection. I like my entry, and I had my market expectation and bias. And when it broke that bias, UAL was still performing, so I could still stick with the trade. If UAL was being flat, right, while the market was going down, maybe not as crazy. I might wait for the market to find some support. When we get this market bounce here, you can see that UAL doesn't initially rally in this market bounce. Here's the bounce. It's kind of compressing, and that's because this trend line is acting as resistance in the way, and the selling from this trend line is offsetting the buying that would happen from the market lift. Now we break the trend line here around 125, but we can't get too comfy yet because just because we poke above a major level doesn't mean we actually confirmed here. So we get above this level here, come back, and then we get this long green candle at 155. So that's a nice sign of confirmation. But what's the market doing at 155? Well, it's made a pretty nice move, and it's at VWAP, and we have a bearish cross, right? We've had some selling early today. This has been an okay move. The volume has been decent, but the candles have been choppy. So let's see what happens. Market is pulling back over here. UAL holds firm. And I think this is where I would put on a starter position anywhere in this range, 235, and then you can ride it up again to maybe 330. So I think my decision-making process was pretty sound. There was a chance that we reject off this trend line and we're unable to move above it. There was also a chance that we break through it. And if we broke through it, I should have had my scenario ready so that when we break through it and we show some relative strength, so you see gaining relative strength here, here's our time to enter the trade anywhere here, right? Let's say 48.12, or let's call it 48.20, right? You entered 48.20. You can ride it up until it loses some steam until 48.90. So that's another 70 cents. So I think our first trade, I am not too mad about the decision-making process. I knew that both those scenarios are possible. So I'm fine with being prudent on these D1 charts and re-entering on this confirmation support and getting that second day trade in. Okay, now that we got UAL done, let's look at our current portfolio. Take out match. All right, so we have Coupang. So we're looking at Coupang over here, and when we take the entry over here, stock had pulled back, tested this entry. Market has still been pretty weak, but Coupang has held quite strong. And what I liked is that we had this higher low. Today, same deal. Coupang is pulling back, finding some support at this level, and we're shooting up. Now we're coming to the time for the trade is sort of running out because we have a CDS. So a couple things that we're watching for today in Coupang. First, we have this market move, and that is going to determine what we do with our Coupang profit target. I have a more aggressive profit target closer to 23.50. If we break this level, which we've tried a couple of times, so let me put up this line right here. Right, we've tried to break this level a couple times. We get smacked down, but buyers have been scooping it up higher and higher. So we have some upward buying pressure at this level, which I think is a bullish sign. If I had shares on this trade, I would not be worried because my time horizon is so much longer. But because we have a CDS that expires this week, I need this move to happen a lot faster. So my first scenario is we reach this target and I'm going to take a tiny profit on Coupang. So I got in for 37 cents debit. I'm going to go for like 38 cents, right? That's in the scenario that, hey, look, maybe the market produces and Coupang doesn't get a lot of buying, or maybe the market doesn't really produce and Coupang is strong, but is really unable to get past this level. What the market does today is going to determine a lot of that strategy. So when we talk about the market scenarios, I'm going to go back to Coupang at the end of the video and we will outline what our plan is for those different scenarios. Market time. Here is our beautiful D1 chart. Fundamentally, again, we are still a 2. Nothing major has changed. We know some major news is pending next week with mega cap tech earnings. Pretty much everyone reports next week except Apple and Nvidia. Apple is the 2nd of May. We also have the FOMC statement on May 1st, so we'll see what rhetoric they give in terms of guidance. They've been kind of saying the same thing for, I don't know, past like 3-4 meetings. So unless they are really spooked by this new inflation data, I'm not anticipating anything new that the Fed would be saying. On the technical side, we are in this pullback. We're in the pullback phase of this longer term D1 trend. Again, zoom out to the weekly trend. We have 3 weeks of selling, so we had a pullback this month. So far, the story seems to be we broke the 50 SMA and we are testing this $500 level, and it seems to be holding. How it holds will determine when we get that bounce. This seems like a place where you would get some institutional support. I think it's a very powerful floor. And the price action today is going to confirm this scenario. Shorter term market bias. Let me actually, maybe let's go to an M30 chart. I haven't looked at this in a while. Again, we're moving down over here. We had the strong move, and then it's just been kind of pitter-pattering. We got this prod at 500, poked at it once today, yesterday, came up, poked at it once today, came up, and now we're starting to get some lift off. So we're getting this double bottom over here, and this is some pretty nice price action. Very steady, lots of candles of a single color, organized and consistent. We're kind of hugging this 8 EMA. So this has the potential to be a really nice bullish trend day. So my shorter term market bias is probably I would say -1, maybe even 0 after looking at this move. I think it kind of works bottom up. So your M5 bias can change your short-term bias. Your short-term bias can change your longer-term bias. Now, we also know on the shorter term, we're not crazy overextended from the 8 EMA. We're not too worried about the bottom falling out. We were watching for any sort of selling climax if we get a big gap down, and then we start to buy aggressively on that gap down, some nice heavy green candles. But we are not quite seeing that. So those are kind of some of the contextual scenarios to watch out for. If you're a swing trader, this is the time to start looking at prospects. So first, if this holds, and I think I'd like to see it kind of get back above this high over here. But this is a pretty nice time to look for some put credit spreads, even some in the money calls on some very, very strong stocks. You can do some short-term scalp swings that I like to do. Let's look at what the day trader should do on the short side, or not the short side, on the long side. So yesterday, we're in a range-bound day. We break through the range and we test 500. We bounce up here. We get this big green candle, get smacked down, and we compress near the low of the day. Okay, nothing crazy. Today, we have a small gap up, quickly test 500 early in the day, rally up a little bit, grind, and then we start to grind up higher. Volume is pretty low. It's picking up a little bit at certain spots, but we're starting to grind up higher, and this is a pretty nice move. We have this bullish 100 peak cycle that is producing, and we have this bearish divergence that's happening so far, and we expected the market to come down or even hold on this bearish cross. That would be very bullish, but the fact that it's diverging means that there is some nice buying pressure at this level, and the trend strength is pretty strong. So I would expect this bear cycle to be pretty short. We get another cross, and then we should be off to the races. Some other things I was watching, and let's take a look at them right now. First part is our mega cap tech. You can see that mega cap tech was a little bit weaker earlier in the day, but now still not as crazy strong, still on the weaker side. In terms of market strength, we're getting some quite broad-based participation. Finance has been very strong today. Comms, IWM, pretty nice as well. And you can see that the breadth in SPY and RSP has kind of been matched up. Tech has been a little bit weak, dragged down by some of the weakness in semis, but you can see that semis are dragging it down, and the tech sector itself, QQQ, is not too far off from SPY. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the component side. Not the most bearish, but broad-based market participation is good. We do need the tech sector to really get this rally off and running to the races. Finance is good though. Finance has been extremely strong for the entire market rally. So a lot of those earnings have come out. Some finance stocks are doing really nice today, and that is a bullish sign for the market. For our flight to safety stocks, VIX is down. That's the first thing I kind of check. Gold and Bitcoin, it's always kind of tough because these aren't as inverse compared to a VIX measure, for example. Staples and utilities, yeah, they're a little bit weak, so it just tells me that there's not as much buying in these sectors as there are in tech sectors. So in the most bullish scenario, I'd like to see that these are going up, but not as much as SPY. Gold is going up, but not as much as SPY. And then Bitcoin might also be going up. It can be seen as a flight to safety, but gold and Bitcoin, I don't weight too much. I may even take them off the list. They're not the most helpful, but they're here for the time being. And earlier today, I had an even amount of heavy buy and heavy sell stocks. Let's see if that's still true. I have 21 on heavy buy, and I have, 10 on heavy sell. So earlier it was like 14 and 14. So it's definitely shifted, and it's shifted because the market is going up. So Earlier in the day, I was maybe like a -1 bullish or -1 bearish in terms of the market components, but now I'd say I'm more of a mildly bullish, a 1 bullish on these market components. My intraday bias right now is a 2, and it's got a little bit more bullish after this divergence. I love this confirmation of trend strength when we really shouldn't be challenging this level in a bear cycle, but we are, and that tells us that buyers are getting more eager at this level. The fact that this is not retracing means institutions are making more aggressive bids at the moment, and we're getting some very nice trend strength. So what are some of the ideal scenarios? Well, the first one is that we break this high of the day on steady buying and decent volume, which sets us up for a nice bull trend day. And ideally, on the daily chart, we could get a nice bullish engulf that comes pretty much right around 506. So if we can get to 506, or even if we break past 506, that would be excellent. The craziest bullish scenario, which I don't think is going to happen because those moves aren't crazy, but we get a big candle that goes past the 50 SMA. That'd be the most bullish, but I don't see that happening. I'd like to see us get somewhere around 506 or even 506.50 would be really ideal. That would set us up very, very nicely for some of our swing trades. All right, let's give some picks. So first, I'm going to give a day trading pick. Then I'm going to try to find maybe a put credit spread or swing trading pick. Now that I've outlined those scenarios, by the way, I'm going to quickly go back to Coupang. It's rallying a little bit. I've bracketed alerts set at the low of the day and the high of the day. So if the market goes up to gets up to 506, I want to see Coupang somewhere here. I want to really see it take off and challenging this level. If it doesn't do that, then I know the market is still strong, and I'm going to try to maybe take a tiny win on that trade because there's certainly some selling pressure here, and I just didn't have the time to really get through that. If Coupang really starts to get through this level, right, I need to see it get through this level, then I can stick with the trade and stick with my original target. But the fact that it hasn't yet tells me that, again, I'm not as bullish on this stock as I was over here, because I'd really like to see this stock take off and break through this level today. That's what I need to see in order to keep my original bullish sentiment. Let's look at some picks that were very, very nice today. So, airlines has been great. ALK posted some of its earnings, and it has been a great mover breaking through this channel. And this is some great price action. Broke over here, some really nice steady buying. I wouldn't mind entering ALK on some sort of compression break. So ALK is a really nice setup right now. I liked COF earlier in the day, and this stock has been absolutely taking off. A lot of these great D1 stocks, and I actually may take this as a swing. Let's see. Yeah, I may take this as this is a really nice swing setup over here. A lot of these strong stocks have kind of found support, and they're really rallying today. And COF is one of the ones that is leading the way up in terms of this rally. DFS is another one. You can see that it pulled back. I actually missed my entry here. It's actually not a bad entry point now. I like this bullish divergence. I wouldn't mind taking DFS right here. Long green candle, pull back, test the open, get a little bit choppy as we are testing these areas, and then we're starting to take off and get over here. So I like these pullbacks to the 8 EMA, and this is probably where I'd buy, somewhere in here. So yeah, I'd probably take a starter position in DFS, and I think I'm gonna do that right now, actually. Okay, so I took a starter in DFS. I'm gonna lay out my thought process right now. So my long-term bias is maybe a little more neutral at the moment, my short-term market bias is a little bit more neutral. We're at this floor of support. My shorter-term intraday market bias is probably a 2 bullish, especially now we're getting this divergence. For me to get a 3, I'd like to see a little bit more volume come in, but I'm liking what I'm seeing in the market. If I look at DFS on a daily chart, this is a pretty bullish daily chart. It had this big gap up. It's been holding this gap. We're bouncing off support. and we're breaking through this downward sloping trend line on a bull flag. Post earnings breakout as well, and certainly has some room to run until this level right here. Let's look at this high at 127.34. So I got about $2 in the stock. I have a starter position on, and we have a bearish divergence. So I expect the stock to hold some of the gains at this divergence. I expect the market to produce on the next bull cycle. If the market doesn't produce, so let me lay out the scenarios. If the market doesn't produce and we start to falter, then I'm going to be more cautious on DFS. If the market goes up, but DFS isn't really doing too much, then I'm also going to kind of get out of the trade. So I like DFS a lot. Again, you can see relative strength, heavy volume. Price action is pretty decent. Moves up higher, pulls back to 8 EMA. Move back higher, pulls back to the 8 EMA. A little bit of selling happening here in the market. So we are going to keep an eye on that. Even if the market has a deep retracement, I expect DFS to hold its gains and hold its own, because it's shown me this strength early in the morning. While the market was probing for support, this stock was making a new high of the day. So that is maybe my pick of the day, because I did take it in the video. Meta has been very nice. Meta, very similar setup. Now we do have earnings coming up. It is breaking. There is this high downward sloping trend line. I'd like to get it through that level, but we're bouncing off a VWAP E above the 50 SMA, and we are taking off today. So Meta is very, very nice. UNH had some great potential. We're just testing that 500 support and is not quite able to get through that level. So I have some alerts set on here. If it can get to that level, it would be very, very nice. Wells Fargo. So we had a long-term swing in this a while back. Finally breaking out of that compression. This could be probably my swing pick of the day. Excellent relative strength. We have a fresh compression break, and this is one that I like a lot. So we're going to keep an eye on this, and I think if the market is able to close close to 506, I wouldn't mind taking a swing long on Wells Fargo. I think that sets up very, very nicely. ET I liked earlier in the day. A little bit choppy as energy stock, but again, you can see it tested support and it bounced off that level. PAA, similar theme. Very organized. Price action bounced off support. Let's zoom in on what's happening today. Nice action up here, came back testing VWAP, and I like to see a bit of a green candle on here. I'm not as crazy about this stock. I don't know, I'm not crazy about some of these energy stocks. I don't know, unless it's MPC, then we give MPC a pass. Nike was looking nice earlier today. It is testing this gap, so I have an alert set at the high of the day because I needed to confirm this gap. You can see, did not happen. We did not confirm this gap, so we got to break above that level for me to be interested. Once we break above the gap level, let's look at this price over here. So this high, 95.52. So we got to basically break above 95.52, which is right here. Break above it, come back and retest, and then see a nice strong bounce, a relatively strong bounce off that level. So if we're bouncing while the market's pulling back, that tells us that there is really nice support here, and we can feel more confident heading into this trade. Yeah, and then there's still also UAL. So UAL had a nice long green candle today, pulled back, and we held half of this green candle. Now we're starting to inch up higher. Some steady buying over here. It's holding VWAP, gaining some relative strength. And I actually took UAL earlier today. I took it right around here because I like this pullback. And you might say, hey, look, why would you take UAL here when there's so many other stronger stocks, right, that are making all these highs? And might not be wrong, but the real clue to UAL is not what is happening today, but what happened yesterday. Because we had the strong post-earning move, we got this green candle in the open, we held all the gains. That tells me that buyers are still engaged in the stock, and I'm entering this longer-term trend at a very attractive price. I'm entering on a pullback. Let's even look at the M30. Right? Strong move going up higher. Yeah, we're just pulling back. We held this level, and I think it's going to go. So I want UAL to hold VWAP, even if we pull back on a little bit of a bearish cycle. That's what I want to see in the stock. Now, if the market starts to pull back over here and we get a deeper retracement than we thought, we're not as bullish on the market and our market bias changes, then we're going to be a little bit more cautious on UAL. But same thing with this. And what stock was it? DFF? I think it was DFS that it entered. Yep, you can see it again, pulling back, testing the 8 EMA here, holding up pretty well. We got a bearish engulf on the market and not a bearish engulf here, which tells us that there is nice, strong buying in the stock. Our market bias, and we always have market expectations and stock expectations, so we know what would change those expectations for either one of those things, and then we make a decision to add or exit the trade or even scale out of the trade after we have added to it. Okay, so talked about a lot of stuff. Let me give some picks. So first one I'm going to say is this DFS day trade. I can't give the trade management for this, obviously, in the day. We're going to talk about the trade management for this in the next video. The other one that I like is the Wells Fargo. The Wells Fargo is doing excellent right now. This is a strong compression break. This is a pretty big compression, so we have to make sure that we can really escape from it. We have post earnings, so we have a catalyst, and this is absolutely shooting up. So yeah, this stock kind of has this compression, breakout, compression, a little bit breakout, and then we should have some follow through when we see something like this. So that's kind of what I want to see in the stock. So I'm fine with taking the breakout, and we want this to hold for a candle on the next day. So what would I do with Wells Fargo? Well, I know that, let me see, CMD. If I go to in the money calls, I should see this stock on here. Yep. Okay. So let me see where we can go. We can probably go like a month out on this kind of stock. So maybe I'll go to the May 17th expiration. And because we're expecting a bounce, and I would expect the bounce to at least last a few weeks. Let's see, what is Wells Fargo trading at right now? 58.60. So I'd have to say, maybe let's check the $50 calls here. Nice, this is a high delta, deep gamma. Pretty good pricing. So yeah, I mean, I would probably take the $50 calls. They're very liquid. May 17th. Option IV rose up a little bit. And the other thing too is that we're through a lot of peer earnings for banks. And one way I can quickly check that is I can go to banks, and then I can actually check my template here. I made an info template. So quickly check, okay, look, we have earnings. So only COF has earnings, which is the credit sector. It's a little bit different from the banking financial sector. The major ones, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JPM, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, these guys have all reported. So we don't have to really worry about any pure earnings that could sort of get in the way. We do have mega cap tech on the horizon. I think banks will be a little more resistant to those kind of tech changes. So yeah, I'm really liking Wells Fargo over here. I think this could be an excellent swing trading opportunity. If the market conditions are right, we could see a very, very nice move in the stock like we saw over here. And when this move starts to wane and compress, you can take some of the gains on that trade. The other thing too, please wait till the second half of the day. We want to see these gains be preserved. We want to see the market really confirm that support. When we took the trade here on the 12th, you can see it gave back some of the gains. We want to see it close near the high of the day. So this is a decision we're going to make at the end of the day based on what the stock looks like and what the market looks like. If the market closes close to 506, and if this stock closes near the high of the day, I'm going to take Wells Fargo long. Okay, it's getting pretty long, 30-minute video. I'm going to try to give a put credit spread as well. So I have a put credit spread search. So these stocks have high IVs, and I've looked at my daily chart template. So I can see which stocks are strong on a daily chart. So let's look at anything that has a nice 1OP signal. UL is on here. Let's look at ELF. It may not produce just yet, but maybe I'll see a stock. Let's see, that's compressing on the D1. Dell. I also like stocks that are in some sort of bullish channel, at least. So this could be a bullish channel forming. Could be a bullish channel forming in Dell, but you'd probably have to get at least to the 50 SMA, in my opinion. 107, so maybe a little bit too far. We also have a lot of mega cap tech stocks reporting, so you want to get something out of that tech sector. On is not too bad. There is at least some semblance of a trend here. Doesn't have earnings until 520. It's holding support pretty well. We definitely have this nice trend line coming right here. And if we break through this, we also have a runway. I like to have a runway on these stocks, so I have plenty of cushion. That's why, if you remember our Amazon PCS, when we took it here, it was in this bullish trend, and it had some opportunity to lift off because we managed to get this strength at the bottom of that channel. So on is not bad. Let's see if we can find a better pick. If we can't find a better pick, then this might be one that we like. MU is pretty good, but I don't like how it's breaking down its AVWAP-E. There's been some weakness in semis for the past couple of days. We also have TSM reporting. KMI is not bad. There's a lot of resistance here, and I like this bullish channel. The only problem is that if we are wrong, there's not really an easy way to leg out of the spread because there's so many technical levels in the way. So I like to have a clean amount of room before the technical level. So if it was somewhere here and it bounced off, then I would like that a lot better, because if I was wrong about the trade, I would have a clear path to leg out. And that actually happened to me on a net put credit spread. I took it over here. It was looking very nice, and this was my put credit spread at this level, 277.50. Broke this level, confirmed the break, so I legged out. I managed to scratch out of the PCS, but I had a clear runway to the 100-day SMA, so it presented a very nice day trading short. So I think that's the key for these put credit spreads. I really want to structure them in a proper way. I want to see a stock that at least is above everything. Let's see, SE. SE's not too bad. I like this bounce off the 50 SMA. It's above its AVWAP-E. Doesn't have a ton of runway, and it's a bit of a bearish trend, so not crazy about that. I don't want to get too crazy in the banking sector. I don't want to have a long and a put credit spread in the banking sector. I like to spread it out. Okay, we're getting a refresh here. Let's see which stocks. Let's see, D1 relative strength. Overall, I have a separate AVGO one, but I need that to get going here. CRM, I think, has been on the weaker side. Yeah, not crazy about CRM. Really not crazy about that one. ADI. Okay, Dow couldn't be too bad. ADI, okay, let's not look at that guy. INTU, I haven't seen you guy in a while. I'm not sure why it's getting so zoomed in. Nope. I'm gonna flip through some of these. Oh, KMI is just whacking it in my face. LEN, AP. AP could not be too bad, but I like to see it get above its AVWAP-E. Let me just set alert at the top of that candle. So if it can break that, I want to be too mad about setting an alert here. You can see the market's pulling back and starting to produce this bear cycle, so that's going to temper our bullishness a little bit. HRL tool. Let's look at our good friend UAL. What's UAL doing right now, by the way? It's holding pretty well, so I'm liking what I'm seeing in UAL. Should we do UAL? Let me check. Well, the first thing, again, we want to check airline stocks. They tend to move together, so airlines. JetBlue has to report some earnings. AAL and Love save, so it could work. I'm not sure how much they'll be dragged down by peer earnings, so I would tend to stick to the safer side on that kind of stuff. Um, maybe Dell. Let's see if we can get any sort of credit in Dell. It may be a little more agnostic to the tech sector. Maybe I can use a filter here. Let's check industrials. See if that works. Okay, well that doesn't quite help, does it? How about, let's take that out. Let's maybe do communications. Netflix is going to report today. Utilities won't be pretty strong. Healthcare maybe? Abbott we know is pretty weak. Trying to see something that's more agnostic. Basic maths is not going to cut it. Comms we know. Consumer cyclical. Okay, we could do consumer cyclical. I think on was maybe the best one that we saw today. I just love how when the market is going down, right? And let's look at a very, very simple move, right? Here is April 1st to today. What happened from April 1st? So this is April 1st, sold off, and then it has been gaining its strength since then. It is choppy though. It is choppy. Yeah, I think I might do on. I think I might do on as my pick. So let's check this. Earnings until 5:20, so we can probably go. Let's check the 5:10 spreads. Nice. Let's go UAL. Okay, so how do we want to structure it? So this is our first level of support, 3250. Our second level would be COF. Okay, so somewhere here. So if we can get maybe the 31 spread, that would also give us at least some room to this 50 SMA. So yeah, I like this. Maybe the 3130 could be a pretty nice PCS. So sell. Let's see how much credit we can get for that. You can get the 3130 for 19-cent credit, which is not too bad right now. So I set a credit for that. The 3129 is a 31-cent credit, so that's the $2 move. You'd want a 40-cent credit for that. Yeah, I do like the 3130 PCS over here. You got lots of cushion. You have nice relative strength. You have a runway, so yeah, if you can get that for 20 cents credit, I think that is a pretty nice one. So I'm gonna probably submit. Yeah, so that's gonna be my other pick. Again, I'd like to see the market get a little bit of a stronger close, but as long as it doesn't completely tank today, I have more latitude to hold at. So let's go for the on PCS 3130 510. So goes as a couple of weeks out. We are still before earnings, and it's looking pretty good. So those are the picks for today. Definitely a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to give a day trade, a swing potential, and a PCS because we're starting to have potentially the market opportunity setting up for those. So we'll see what happens in this bear cycle over here. We're below zero, so we might get that cross soon. Let's check DFS, see how that guy's doing. Looks like it's holding the gains, which is excellent. Holding its previous level right here. That's what I like to see. So market finds support. We get this bullish cross. I will probably add to DFS, and I will probably add to UAL. Yeah, so that is it for this video. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will take a look at all these picks tomorrow.